Hello learners, in this video we are going to discuss about the library classes in Java. Now by saying library class we want to mean that the standard classes or the inbuilt classes which are already defined inside Java. A proverb is that to be a good programmer you have to learn the inbuilt Java classes very well. If you know the inbuilt classes and the methods provided by those classes, you can be able to write efficient Java program very easily. Now, as can be seen from here, Java library class or Java library is a collection of predefined classes which providing methods that can be called at runtime depending on the need and the uses. So by saying Java library, we want to mean the predefined or the inbuilt classes already provided in Java. Now these classes are provided in a group which are called packages. Now how Java packages are there inside Java, to demonstrate that, this visual is shown into this slide. This is a conceptual representation of Java packages. As can be seen, different classes such as here math class, integer, double, float class, string builder class and many more are grouped together in a small bucket named lang. These classes, this math class, integer class, double class, they do the basic operation available in Java language. The buffer reader class, buffer writer class, buffer input stream class, buffer output stream class, file descriptor class and so on are generally related with the input and output operations performed in Java. So they are put inside another small bucket named IO. Like that, util and net buckets are available. These buckets are called packages, and all these packages are inside a large bucket known Java. So if we want to mention a class which is defined inside Java and say inside the util package, we have to mention that the scanner class belongs to util package and the util package belongs to Java package. How can we say that? We'll say java dot util dot scanner and so on. So if we want to mean a socket package, a socket class, we have to say that the socket class belongs to the net package and the net package belongs to the Java package. So to mention the socket class, we have to write java dot net dot socket, and the concept is same for other classes also. An example of how the library classes can be used in a program, an example is shown here. As can be seen, we want to use the scanner class object. Those who have gone through my previous video must be knowing that the scanner class is generally used to take input from keyboard. Now for the same purpose we want to use the scanner class object sc into this program. So as the scanner class is defined inside the util package, so either I have to write import, it is a reserved word, then space, then java dot util dot start, then semicolon, which means that all the classes belongs to the util package must be included into this program. If we don't want to include all the classes available in the util package. If we want to include only the scanner class in our program, then we will write import space java.util.scanner. That means we are mentioning only the class which we want to include into our program in this line. So either the import java.util.start or import space java.util.scanner, this line, either of these two lines have to be used in order to use the scanner class into this program. So I have chosen the first one. That means I have written import space java.util.start this line into this program. As a result, all the classes inside the util package will be included into this program. So now we can create the scanner class object like this. As this scanner class object is associated with the system.in, that means the standard input device, so which means the keyboard. So if we type any number, say integer, from the keyboard, that will be collected by this next int function of this scanner class object, and it will be stored into this integer variable, and that value will be displayed. Those who are having the computer into home are encouraged to write this program to test whether it is working or not. Please try with both these import statement one at a time, and exclude both these import statement to see what type of error is coming into our program, so that you can be very clear that in order to use the scanner class into your program, you have to include the scanner class in your program. So this is a demonstration how you can use the library class which are available in Java in your program. Now we can define our own package, as the library classes are already defined inside Java. Like that, we can also create our own package using the package keyword. The syntax of writing user defined package is shown here. As can be seen, first we have to write the package keyword, then the package name, and then the semicolon, which is not here, but you have to write a semicolon after this package name. Then the classes which you want to include inside this package. As an example, suppose we want to create a package named shape. As you can see, I have written the package keyword, then space, then the name of the package, after that a semicolon, which means this, after this statement, this package statement, all the classes written in this file are all included into the same package. Here I have defined two classes, rectangle and circle, which are inside the shape. If I compile this program, then two dot class file will be created according to the class defined in this file. That means a rectangle dot class file and a circle dot class file will be created. Now Java implement package using the directory structure. That means physically in computer hard disks you have to create a directory named shape, and inside that shape directory you have to put the rectangle dot class and circle dot class file. This way Java physically implement the package structure. If you put these two class file into the shape directory, then it will work as the way the inbuilt packages works inside Java. So all in all, this is how you can create a user defined package inside Java. You have to create a package with a package name, and I would like to mention here that the package name should be a valid identifier. So you have to write the package keyword, then space, then name of the package, and all the classes you want to put inside those package have to be written in that file. Then you have to compile that file. As a result, number of dot class file will be created, as many number of classes you defined inside the package. Then you have to create a directory with the same name of the package name, and have to physically copy the dot class file inside that directory. Then your work is done, and then you can use the import statement to import the classes which are defined in this SAFe package, or the package you will create. So this is how the user defined packages are created in Java and can be used in your program. Now we will discuss some of the classes which are defined inside Java. The very interesting and important classes which are defined inside Java Lang package are wrapper class. Now wrapper classes are those classes which are defined for each of the inbuilt data type available in Java. In Java, as we know, there are 8 inbuilt or predefined data types are available, and for each data type there is one class defined inside Java Lang package which are known as wrapper class. That means for int primitive data type, an int class with the name integer is defined. For double primitive data type, a double class is defined inside Java. For boolean primitive data type, a boolean wrapper class is defined. You must note here that all the wrapper class starts with a capital letter. So all the inbuilt or primitive data type, there is one class defined inside Java. So what is its benefit? These are listed into this slide. As you can see, using wrapper class, we can determine the nature of the primitive data. How it can be done, I have demonstrated those using some example. Into the next slide will come in later portion of this video in a stepwise manner. Now we can use wrapper class to convert inbuilt or primitive data type into object type, or convert the object into primitive data type, or convert a data type into another data type. All these type of functions or actions can be performed using the wrapper class. These are demonstrated with an example. First, let us see how an object of a wrapper class can be created. Here I have created an integer object from an inbuilt or predefined integer data type variable whose name is x. Here I have defined one integer variable, simple integer variable x with the value 20. Now using that variable x, I have created an integer object. As you can see here, first I have used the name of the class, that is integer, then name of the object, here it is obj, then equal to sign, then the new keyword, then again name of the class, and then I have used the variable. So this is how we can create an integer object from an integer inbuilt data type variable. Some more examples are shown here. As you can see here, an integer in string format is given. What does it mean by integer in string format? Is explained with this system.out.println statement, which I come in later description of this example. First, see how this string is converted into an integer value, numeric integer value. As you can see, I have defined an integer variable a here, and I have used the parseInt function of this integer wrapper class. The parseInt function takes an integer in string format and it converts that string value into numeric value and it stores in A. That means the parseInt function takes an integer in string format and convert that string value into numeric value and returns that value which is getting stored here into A. Now whether the conversion, that means from string to integer value, actually occurred or not, to test that I have used an addition with that numeric value as well as with the string value. As you can see from the output, after the addition with the numeric value, the value of A, which is supposed to be 112, is incremented by 2 and it becomes 114, as you can see here. But with the string, the addition is converted into concatenation. That means the 2 is concatenated with 112 and it becomes 1122. So this is the difference. If a number is represented in string and we perform a string or we perform an addition operation, instead of the increment of the value, the concatenation operation is performed and that value is attached with the string, as happened here. But if we perform the addition with a numeric value, then the numeric value gets incremented, as happened with A plus 2. So this is one example of how we can convert a string value into a numeric value using wrapper class method. This is another example where I have used the character wrapper class method isLetter to test whether a variable of inbuilt character data type is containing a letter or a digit. As you can see, I have used isLetter and isDigit method to check whether the x, which is a character variable containing letter or digit, and subsequent output will be getting printed in case of letter or in case of digit respectively. As you can see from the output, the letter word is printed because x contains small b, which is eventually a letter. Letters, by saying letter I mean small a to small z or capital A to capital Z. As it is a letter, that means as the variable x contains a small letter, so this isLetter method returns a true value, so this condition becomes true and as a result the letter value get displayed, whereas the isDigit is false, so this has not got printed. So this is how we can use a wrapper class method to test the nature of data, which is done using the isLetter or isDigit method of the character wrapper class. Another very important thing we want to mention here is that these methods, isLetter, isDigit, parseInt, all are called using the class name of that respective wrapper class and the dot operator. So recall from my previous video, if a method is called using the class name and dot operator, that means that method is a static method. So from here, the nature of calling these methods, we can determine that these methods are static methods. That's why we are calling these methods using the class name and the dot operator. As the case here, the character dot isLetter, character dot isDigit, integer dot parseInt, and so on. So as these methods are static method, we are using class name and dot operator. So these are two examples. First one demonstrating how a value in one data type, in string data type, change into integer data type, and x, which is a character data type, how its nature of value getting checked with the isLetter and isDigit methods. Now another very important concept of wrapper class is discussed here. It is auto boxing. Whenever we are creating an object of wrapper class, we always don't use the new operator. Instead of using new operator, we just directly assign the value into corresponding wrapper class object. As is the case here, we have created or we have assigned an integer value into an integer object x. So what Java compiler does is that during the runtime it converts this integer value into an integer object and stores that value into x. This automatic conversion from primitive data type to object is called auto boxing. So when we assign a primitive data type value to an object of its wrapper class, as is the case here, integer value is assigned into the integer object. So when we assign a primitive data type value to an object of its wrapper class directly, instead of passing the value to constructor with new keyword, the compiler at runtime automatically converts the primitive data type to corresponding wrapper class object. This is called auto boxing. So here, by writing integer x equal to 500, we are performing the auto boxing action. The reverse is unboxing. Here an object of wrapper class will be converted into corresponding inbuilt data type variable by simply assignment operation. As you can see here, I have created an integer object x with the conventional method, that means with the new operator and the integer constructor, where I have passed a 200 integer value, and by simple assignment you can see here k is an integer variable and we are assigning an object into a simple integer variable. So during the execution, Java compiler converts the object into inbuilt data type. This automatic conversion is called unboxing. So when we try to assign the object of wrapper class into a primitive data type, compiler automatically convert the object into primitive data type. This automatic conversion is called unboxing, as is the case here. Here object is automatically converted into inbuilt data type. This is called unboxing. Some other example of character wrapper class is demonstrated here. As we can see, I have created a wrapper class object, character wrapper class object from inbuilt data type variable x, and displays those value both using the inbuilt data type variable and the object. So this is how we can create wrapper class object from inbuilt data type. This is we have already done using the integer wrapper class. Here this example demonstrates how a character wrapper class object can be created from inbuilt data type variable. Here there is another example shown here, which actually convert a inbuilt data type value into other value, as is the case here. Here x is containing a lowercase letter a, and using the character wrapper class to uppercase, we are converting the lowercase value into uppercase. As you can see from the output, where I have displayed the value of x, it is previously holding the value small a, and after using the to uppercase method, the value of x converted into uppercase A. And in case of B, which was previously holding a value capital B letter, after using the two lowercase method, the capital B is converted into a lowercase value small b, and that value is getting displayed here. So using the wrapper class, we can also change the value of the inbuilt data type variable using appropriate methods, and all the methods, as you can see, are static method, as they are called using the class name and the dot operator. Here some other methods are used, wrapper class methods are used to check the value of inbuilt data type variable. As you can see, is lowercase is a character wrapper class method which is checking the value of x, whether it is lowercase or not. As is the case here, x is holding a small a value which is indeed a lowercase value, so the lowercase message is displayed here, and b and y is holding a capital letter value, so the is uppercase method will return a value true, hence the uppercase method message will be displayed. Here another character wrapper class method is white space is used, which will check whether the parameter which is passed into this is white space method is a white space or not, that means a blank character or not. If it is a blank character, as is the case here, x holding a blank character, it will display it is white space message, and this message is getting displayed. And the is letter or digit method will check whether the parameter passed into that method is a letter or a digit. As y is holding a digit, hence letter or digit method message will be displayed, as is the case here. So this is how we can use the character wrapper class to check what type of value is stored into the primitive character variable. Here I have changed one float in string format into numeric float value using the parse float wrapper class method, and the corresponding wrapper class is float. And to check whether the conversion, that means from string to numeric float, is actually happened or not, I have used an addition with both numeric value and with the string value. As you can see from the output, for the numeric addition, the incrementation is done, but with the string variable, the concatenation has occurred. Therefore, using the parse float method of the float wrapper class, we can convert a floating point value in string format into numeric float value. Same case is done here with the parse double method of double wrapper class, which takes a string which represent a double number and convert that string into numeric double value. And whether this conversion is actually happen or not, to check that, I have used the addition both with the numeric value and with the string value. As you can see, with the numeric addition, the output, that means the numeric value, gets incremented by 2, as is the case here. 50.29 becomes 52.29, and for the string value, the concatenation has occurred, so 50.29 becomes 50.292. it is the concatenation. So the conversion from string to double value has actually taken place using the parse double wrapper class method of the double wrapper class. Same thing is done with the long wrapper class. Here I have used a parse long method of the long wrapper class, which takes a string representing a long value in string format and it converts that string into numeric long, and again I have performed the addition method, addition, to check whether actually that conversion has taken place or not, and from the output we can conclude that that conversion has taken place using the parse long method. So now we will discuss how a class can be used as composite data type. Now, why we need a composite data type? To understand that, we have to understand the real life problem which we try to solve using any Java program. When we write a Java program or we store some value using in a Java program of a real-time entity, say a physical box, we generally stores different kind of value for a single entity. For example, a physical box, if we want to store values about that box, we have to store its dimension, which generally double values, its length, its height, its width. If we want to store its material, which may be wood or steel, that value will be string. If we want to store its year of manufacture, which is generally an integer, and so on. So if we want to store different values or the actual values of a physical entity, we have to store different value of a single entity. But with the inbuilt data types available in Java, say integer, float, double, long, character, all these 8 primitive data types, we can store a single value, single type of value in a single variable of a certain data type. For example, if we consider an integer data type variable, then we will able to store only an integer value. So this scenario does not match with our real time or real world problem, where we want to store or we have to store different kind of values of a single entity. To fill up this shortfall, class can be used effectively. In a class, we can put different variable of different data type in a single wrapper, and an object created of that class will be able to hold different kind of values. To demonstrate that, I have shown an example here. I have created a my data type class which consists a string instance variable, an integer instance variable, a double instance variable, and 2 constructors to facilitate some operations. Forget about these constructors. If we only have these 2 instance variable, then also if we create an object of my data type class, it will be able to hold a string, an integer, and a double, as the case here. Now this constructors comes into play. So an object of my data type class will be able to hold a string, an integer, a double value simultaneously, which actually matches with the scenario of our real-time entity. Hence the comes class as a composite data type. Now we can read from here, a composite data type is such that can hold different primitive data type values simultaneously. Class can be used to create composite data type as per the need of the user. For example, this one. So as a whole, we can say that class can be used to create a user defined data type or a composite data type, which is consists of new different type of variable of different data type. So when we create an object of that class, it will be able to hold different type of value of different data type simultaneously. Hence class can be used as a composite data type. Now here I have demonstrated the same example of the previous slide, where I have used some instance methods to facilitate some of the operation. For example, this setInt method is added with the myDataType class to set some value into that integer instance variable. As in the case, you can see that value whichever passed into the setInt method is getting stored into x, which is the instance variable of the myDataType class. As is the case here, setDouble, which is setting a value to the instance double variable, and the display method, which will display the value stored at that moment in that object of the myDataType class. So we can add methods or instance variables as per our need in a class, and in that way we can create a data type which will fulfill our need. Hence class can be used as a composite data type. Here I have demonstrated some of the difference between primitive data type and composite data type. As you can see, primitive data types are inbuilt data type already defined inside Java. As we know, there are 8 types of primitive data types available in Java, and in composite data type can be designed as per the requirement of the programmer. Example of primitive data type: int, float, double, etc. Class can be used as composite data type. Primitive data type can hold a single type of value at a time. At a single time, a single type of value can be stored in a primitive data type, but an object of a class can hold as many types of data as user wants. So all in all, what we have learned here in this video is that different library classes inside Java, how they are actually stored, the conceptual view of the package available inside Java, how a package can be defined, how Java implement the physical structure of package, some of the library classes such as wrapper class, how class can be used as composite data type as per the need of the programmer. So all these concepts are discussed in this video. Please perform or go through this video repeatedly to grasp all the concept discussed here. Perform this homework. Thank you and happy learning.